we're missing a couple of folks, but we'll go ahead and kick off KARM. Ryan is going to be given the overview of the company and his use case, so I'll turn it over to the...
Do you need Robin back since she's the judge?
Yeah, we gotta go.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Sorry,
Rob. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
We've got judges.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Hi, my name is Ryan Ostolsky, and I'm the founder for KARM. So this is virtual. I hope we can all see each other in some way, whether that's some being on site or others over Zoom or some other means of video. It will help answer this upcoming question. How many of you here have been sick and had a debate with yourself? Should I go to the doctor or hope the problem I have goes away? I'm assuming a lot said yes, because most do. KARM makes healthcare easy and not a pain in the ass, so you don't have that debate anymore. At least we hope so. I've always been a little different, but not in a little way. I used to play the clarinet in the high school marching band, and we look a little something like this marching across the field. With abnormal height and frequent CrossFit injuries, I've been to the doctor a fair amount. But it's with all those visits that I start to ask myself, why is the experience often such a pain, and do others feel that way? While working for a major health system in the Midwest on IT health and security projects, I started to talk with patients. After over 100 conversations, 3 common themes came out. It takes a lot of time, it costs a lot of money, and that cost is growing to $3.6 trillion in 2019 alone for the US healthcare spending, with primary and urgent care reaching $200 billion. But most of all, an actual repeated comment from both patients and providers was that the healthcare system to deal with is a pain in the ass. But why? The foundation to our system is broken. In the old days, you pay your doctor directly, and they came to your home. You held more power paying the doctor directly. With insurance companies, the doctor took back some power, and eventually rooms were created for the sole purpose of waiting in them. Over decades, it has become a power struggle, payers lowering reimbursements, and providers finding new ways to bill you. All with you, stuck in the middle, trusting they know better, but often wondering why it works this way. With COVID, telehealth has exploded, which sounds great. But how has it actually been implemented? Last week, I had a telehealth visit to refill a prescription. It sounds pretty simple, but I ended up waiting in a virtual waiting room for close to 30 minutes. When the doctor joined, I only saw the top of her head. She then refilled the prescription wrong, and I was charged somehow more than I used to be charged for an in-office visit. While tech can help, and it helped fix a lot of the problems in our healthcare system, the fundamentals to the system did not change, and we need to fix those. So instead of all 3 pain points improving, they all got worse. And those pain points are, again, time, costs, and experience. Having worked in healthcare, and I'm sorry for the doctors listening in, I'm assuming there's many of you here. Many of you are just like my lawyer brother and are terrible with new technology. If you are one of the few that are different, come talk to me after. And sorry for the background truck. For a cough, we broke down the patient journey. Most pick up the cough from someone else that was sick. Most, when they start coughing, hope it goes away. Sometimes it goes away, and sometimes the problem gets worse, which is when they look at options. Either they already have a doctor or Google it, leaving new entrants into the space in an uphill battle to break through. They see that doctor in person or telehealth, and some get a prescription as the cold has lingered long enough to warrant it. Most never hear back from the doctor and need to schedule a new appointment if it keeps getting worse. In the end, the problem has been solved. The experience sucked, but for many, that is just how it's always been. Which is where KARM comes in. And what we propose eliminating and or simplifying everything for patients. I know there's been talk about focus on a patient, but it's not about the patient journey. It's about adding more things to tack on and bill a patient. For us, we're starting with prevention, so avoiding needing care at all. This month, we are set to pilot a Yelp-like app for COVID in the Chicago area. But in our second phase, this is where Sertainty comes in. It's a new form of telehealth, where KARM goes to the doctor for you. When you call it for Alexa, it was listening, waiting for you to ask for help. KARM would be like that, but listening for a loud noise and checking to see if it was a cough. With enough symptoms, KARM engages a doctor on your behalf and has medication on your way before you think to act. That automation will create a lot of new audio files, and it will be critical to our users that we keep those sensitive moments secure or risk becoming a new pain point. That is where, with a certainty, we can solve all three pain points for patients with little to no time spent by the patient, creating nearly free basic healthcare with doctors responding in their downtime and costs offset by new payers introduced in phase one. Does that still sound like a pain in the ass? I hope not. It's going to be a long road, much longer than 2 phases on a slide deck. But if KARM is going to disrupt a $3 trillion industry, I need your help. We will face headwinds, and we must always be better. And with certainty, we can. I've seen firsthand how a large health system will lose patient data and move on with a fine as a cost of doing business. But for a company the size of KARM, that would put us out of business, making security a top concern. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
We have Ryan on the video.
I'm pulling them up.
Okay. So while we're waiting to have Ryan there, I'm Mark.
Good Mark. All right.
There we go. Yeah, much better. Please don't do that again.
I'm not trying to listen, Carl.
No, that's okay. So any questions in the room? Anybody for Ryan? Anything from the judges, Fred?
Yes. Alex, how would you be impacted by FDA regulation of software as a medical device?
So we're not, and then the phase two, I'm assuming you're focusing on that with what we want to do is, I guess, recognize a cough, but then send that to a doctor for them to diagnose what it is. So there are other companies out there that are creating medical devices that diagnose what sound is being made, but right now we're not trying to do that. We're trying to record a sound and then send that to a qualified medical professional to diagnose what that sound is.
All right. Any questions? Are there any online from anyone, Robin? Can you tell?
I don't have any online. The only question I have is where are they are they already launched into the market or are they still in trial?
Okay, so the question was, where are you at in your business, Ryan? Have you launched? Are you about to launch? I think you were saying you were about to launch, but if you could expand on that, that would be appreciated.
We have a initial product built, which is a Waze or Yelp-like app, and we're targeting launching that app in the Chicago area this month. But then the future features in the phase two, that would probably come in the next year or so. But the initial goal is to kind of roll out, help things with COVID, build up user base around COVID, and then build out the features over the next year or so to help people heal if they do get sick.
Okay, great.
Okay, one other question from Alex here that came through. Do you have expected reimbursement / activity codes for providers that this interaction would satisfy?
So there's, right now, I think the main things for telehealth is over video, but there's another portion of telehealth. I think someone else mentioned it earlier on the other slide. I think it's asynchronous telehealth. And that's basically, I think, where a form is being filled out by a patient, and then that form is then sent to a doctor in their downtime or whenever to review over those questions, and then send back their diagnosis. What KARM is trying to do in that phase 2 is basically automate that, filling out that form, automating collection of what problems they're having, and then through those existing codes, bill potentially, or bill directly to a patient, whether that's through a membership fee or per service.
Okay, no other questions from the judges? Are you guys okay? Okay, all right, thank you for the thumbs up, appreciate it. So, go ahead if we want to transition. Great job.
You want to take a couple of minutes? Okay, so we'll take 3 minutes.
3 minutes to
Hearing
get
from the-
Modern Radio live from ATP.
Yep.